All right, let's now bring in political commentator Ms. Rebone Tau to help us unpack the EFF's plenum as well as the DA's regional conference taking place in the Free State today. Rebone, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. A very good afternoon. So the various political parties have started their full local government elections campaigns. Let's look at the EFF firstly, who goes into these polls from a dismal showing at nationals. And let me not even point out to the current legal matters pertaining to their leader and, of course, the possible outcome in April. How do you see the party get over these hurdles as, of course, they deliberate on these very matters this weekend? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to the viewers at home. I think what is most interesting about this meeting that is taking place in Boksburg is that you have the IEC that they've invited. You have also the Stats SA that they have invited, and also the Demarcation Board, which is very interesting. It shows that they are really trying to look at other avenues to strengthen their elections machinery. And one of the things earlier on, I was listening to the Secretary General of the EFF, where he said that with all the information that they've received from these institutions, they will have to really come up with a strong strategy for these elections. And one of the things, if you listen to the president of the EFF yesterday, he said it's either you perish or you flourish beyond this local government elections. So for them, it's do or die for these elections.
Absolutely. But what are their options, Rebone? I mean, let's look at whatever possible outcome from court, right? How do you see them steering the ship? And what about the members whom we already know, largely known to be basically loyal to the word of the CIC? I mean, do you even think Godrich Kadi can be an effective caretaker of the party? Reports are already surfacing that members, including some senior provincial leadership, are already concerned that if the leadership issue isn't actually addressed right now, the organization could potentially be destabilized.
Absolutely. I mean, but one of the things that you must know about Julius Malema, he's an organizer. And what I see that they will do, they're going to play the race card, using this case, and more especially because the other guy, the owner of the firearm, has not been charged and he's not going to be sentenced and so forth, So they're going to use that race card, to say that this is a race issue. And you have heard his remarks, outside the court. So, but the reality of the matter, I think that they were not expecting things to go this way. What will be very interesting, whether will he get a suspended sentence or will he be sentenced, where he will serve time? But I foresee probably a suspended sentence. But then he will still, I think, within the party, still be active, because their constitution is not like the one of the ANC where you are charged, you have to step aside. He's been going to court and still being the party leader. So I see him going on the ground, and using the race card to campaign in these elections.
But in the other eventuality, Rebone, let's consider that possible aspect as well. If he does go to jail, even for a little bit, what happens to the leadership? And especially if the issue of leadership is not addressed at this stage, as the members are demanding this weekend.
Absolutely. This will be a crisis for them because if you look at, he's been the leader of the party since it was launched in 2018. It's 12 years now, and he's not as strong as also as a leader of the EFF. If you compare to 2013 and right now, and we've seen that some people have left the party, because of feeling that he's holding on to power, he doesn't want to let go. So this might also be a challenge because then there will be those that will see themselves as the caretaker, of the EFF. While he's probably, if he would serve sentence, while he's serving sentence, they will see themselves as a caretaker, and that will be also about the power struggle within the party, And if you look at most political parties, when you have a leader that has served for a very long time, it becomes very difficult for the transition to bring in new blood into the forefront.
And what happens when he comes back? Will the current leader then be even willing, of course, to return power to the CIC? All right, Rebone, let's now look at the DA that is also in the Free State, set to hold its provincial congress in Bloemfontein today. They're promising members improved service delivery. Let's talk about their overall approach, right? Currently, there are highly contested positions like that of the chair as well as deputy chair, while provincial finance remains uncontested. Let's get your thoughts on these, Rebone.
I think what is very interesting also, because we know that there's been divisions within the DA for some, and it's normal for this contestation because we've seen also in the national conference the contestations. We've seen of recent the power struggle with one of their members, who's a former minister, resigning, and unfortunately, the DA also finds itself in a very difficult time. I've been saying to a lot of people, one of the things that I've observed that them being in this government of national unity is bringing more problems for them internally. And that's why we continue to see the power struggle, and we're going to see it going to their national conference in the near future.
Very interesting take there, Rebone, because I was just going to ask you if, in fact, do you foresee the DA being actually able to identify itself outside of the GNU? Very quick one. Looking at the Free State as a province, Rebone, and its current challenges that, of course, range from sewage on the streets and contaminating water sources, the roads infrastructure is dismal, and basic needs of the people are not being met. Do you see the voters there taking the chance on the DA? I mean, their GNU partners, the ANC, is surely also vying to retain this province.
I think the mistake that we tend to make, although yes, the Free State is also a rural province, but if you look at where they are right now in Mangaung, it's an urban, it's a metro. All the townships, the ANC is still in charge of those wards, and the DA continues to just win votes in the suburban areas. So it will be very difficult for them to penetrate the township vote. The township vote is loyal to the ANC, and that's why it's either you see a low voter turnout. If you don't see a low voter turnout that's low, those that go vote for the ANC in spite of these challenges, because these are not new challenges, But also what is remember in the last 2021 elections, the ANC was close to losing that municipality. They just won it by 50%, but I don't see them at this point getting that 50. It might also go into a coalition, that metro in Mangaung, because of the challenges of service delivery that have continued under this current leadership that we're seeing in Mangaung.
Absolutely. That's where then the parties, the smaller parties, I'm not sure if I can say the smaller parties in reference to the EFF, but I mean, that's where, of course, they become the kingmakers at this point. So it's going to be quite interesting to see. Rebone, thank you so much for that engagement. That is Rebone Tau, political commentator there on the EFF as well as DA campaigns ahead of the all-important local government polls.